Hello, fifth grade. This week we've been working on measurement conversions, and today we're going to do some problem solving involving measurement conversions. So as we work today, I'm going to ask you what conversion factors are necessary to solve a specific problem. So what do I mean by that? I mean a relationship that exists. For instance, 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. That is a conversion factor, and we will need to know these conversion factors in order to solve these problems. So we're going to work out of your book today, and the first page you're going to need is page 439, so if you could get that ready. Okay, so the problem says that we have a leaky faucet in Jared's house that drips 2 cups of water each day. After 2 weeks of dripping, the faucet is fixed. If it dripped the same amount each day, how many quarts of water dripped from Jared's leaky faucet during that 2 weeks? So, the first thing I'm going to do is highlight the question that we're trying to answer. The question is, how many quarts of water? So, you know how I make a big deal out of units of measure? This is exactly why, because we're starting the problem thinking about cups, but we're ending the problem thinking about quarts. And so if you only put a number, I don't know what you mean. So what are we going to need to know? We're going to need to know the relationship that exists between cups and quarts, but we don't need that yet. So let's just go back and see what the question asks again. We're dripping 2 cups of water each day, and this happens for 2 weeks, okay? And after that, it's fixed. So if it dripped the same amount each day, how many quarts of water? So let's look at step 1 here. And step 1 says the faucet drips 2 cups of water each day. We're just reviewing the information, and that happened for 2 weeks, right? Okay, step 2 says find the total amount of water dripped in 2 weeks. Well, 2 cups for the days in 2 weeks would be 14 days because there are 7 days in 1 week. So that was 28 cups of water was leaked in 2 weeks. Okay, you with me? So now we have to do the conversion, and the conversion factor is what we need to think about. And so here in step 3, it lays out the conversion factor. We know that there are 2 cups in 1 pint and 2 pints in 1 quart. So we're going to write this down. We have how many cups? We have 28 cups. So if there are 2 cups in 1 pint, that means we would need to divide 28 by 2 to get 14 pints. And so those 14 pints, in order to turn them into quarts, we would need to divide them by 2 because there are 2 pints in 1 quart. That means there are 7 quarts. So totally, the leaky faucet dripped 7 quarts during the 2 weeks. Okay, so now this bottom, though, changes the question up a little bit, and it said, what if it had happened for 4 weeks? Well, then we would just have to double that, right? Because this 7 quarts was for 2 weeks, so we would double that to get 14 quarts for 4 weeks. Okay, let's go to the next page, page 440, and we have a carton of eggs, grade A eggs, and they weigh about 1 5/10 pounds. If a carton holds a dozen eggs, how many ounces does each egg weigh? So again, I'm going to highlight the question. We're trying to find how many ounces, but that's going to be a change in our unit of measure, right? Because the problem starts in pounds. So we need to know what the conversion factor is between ounces and pounds. And hopefully you know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. And if you don't have to memorize all these conversions, but you should have them listed in your notebook so you could easily find them. Okay? All right, so then what do we need to do here? The total weight, and I'm looking right here under the egg carton. The total weight was 1.5 pounds. And we know there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So to get the total weight, we could use the distributive property here. 1.5 times 16 would be thinking about 1.5 as 1 plus 5/10 times 16. So we could do 1 times 16 is 16, and then 1/2 times 16 would be 8, because 8 is half of 16, and that would give us a total of 24 ounces. Okay, now we couldn't have done that problem if we didn't know this conversion factor. So that's the important piece here. Okay, and then obviously the unit of measure. 24 represents ounces, 1.5 represented pounds. Okay, so step 2, sorry about that, I got buzzing going on in my iPad. So find the weight of each egg in the carton. Well, how many eggs are there? A dozen. How many are in a dozen? 12. 12 eggs. So now we're going to take the 24 ounces, and we're going to divide it, 24 ounces, by the number of eggs, which is 12. 24 divided by 12 is equal to 2. So each egg would weigh 2 ounces. And does that answer seem reasonable? Yeah, I think it does. All right, so there are 3 problems on the bottom of this page. I'd like you to pause the video and give them a try. And then come back and you can see how you did. All right, here are the correct answers. Let's just kind of quickly talk about what you needed to do to get these answers. On number 1, you needed to know that there were 1,760 yards in 1 mile. That is the conversion factor you needed. So 2 miles, you would double to get 3,520 yards, and then you needed to divide that by 80 yards to get 44 practices. So on number 3 here, the correct answer is 80 drinks. Why? Well, let me show you. The conversion factors you needed for this problem is that you needed to know there are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup, and there are 16 cups in 1 gallon. So if there were 5 gallons in the problem, then you would do 16 times 5 to get 80. And so each drink was 8 fluid ounces. That makes 80 drinks altogether. All right, on this last problem, one of the conversions you need to know is that 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. And then in this problem, we have 5-pound bags of flour, and each box holds 12. So that's 60 pounds per 60 pounds per box. And so you would take 6,000 divided by 60 to get 100 boxes. All right, so I'd like you to try the problems on page 441. You can check your answers with the key when you are done. Good luck.